Hey, everybody.
Hey,
It's another,
guys.
Boys.
Let's go.
it's another Tuesday. We're talking greenbacks. You don't know these guys, you probably live under a rock. But we got some of the best anglers from Manitoba and some legends with us tonight. So how was your guys' weekend? You guys get out? The Keystone was this weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Carlo fished the tourney.
Yeah. It was this weekend. We got some brutal temps, but a good change on Sunday. That was good. So it was a good tournament.
It was beautiful.
Yeah. No. So how did you do, Carlo? I know you did good the last one.
I came 8th this tournament out of the 20 teams. Like I said, it was a tough day one for me because the temperature was pretty bad, with the wind and everything. But we managed to get some decent hits on Sunday, but it just wasn't enough.
Yeah. Dale?
I was out there. It was sort of a grind. We got a bunch of eaters, but the big fish didn't come out to play. It was my buddy's birthday. He got a 27. But
oh yeah,
I've had a pretty good winter overall though. Caught a couple 30s, but this weekend was definitely a grind for me.
Yeah, I heard the conditions have not been good. Like you guys got a massive amount of snow, and it's pretty much track access only.
Yeah, that's
right. Yeah, if you don't have tracks, you're not going out there.
Yeah.
No.
And even if you do have side by side, like it is sort of hard to get around still passing the ridge and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's tough.
You guys got some huge ridges this year?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple. There's not a pile, but we've got quite a bit of broken up ice, though, that's causing some issues as well. But there's only a couple of real big ridges out there.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, there's a big one that runs east to west, and it's opened a couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I know somebody that just put their track machine sideways on the ridge 2 days ago. So yeah, it opened up pretty good.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, that lake's always shifting. Like it's a crazy lake if you don't know it. And like you guys know it. What's some tips if someone's gonna head out that way? Like, what do you recommend, Lee? And we'll just kind of do a clockway information session.
Well, I guess the biggest tip is I know guys are coming up and they're used to fishing right at twilight and the magic hour and fishing till dark. You don't want to do that on Lake Winnipeg. When the boys start coming off at 4, 5, 6 o'clock, you leave yourself plenty of time. I got a call last week. A guy, it was colder than heck, calls me at 8 o'clock. Yeah, my side-by-side won't start. Can you come get me? Nope. It was like a whiteout. It's like, buddy, you screwed this up. So he got lucky. A sled came by, and they at least got off the ice, but they left the machine, So that's the big thing is just let somebody know where you're going. And we always go out with 2 machines. Carlo and I will go out, or whoever we're fishing with. We always have at least two trucks, 2 machines, whatever it takes. But that's the big thing. And everybody keeps saying how brutal Lake Winnipeg is on equipment. They aren't lying.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
And how many front ends do you go through, Lee, in a year?
How many what?
How many front ends do you go through?
Well, let me just say that my wife knows exactly how much a front axle costs on a GMC pickup truck. So, I go through 2 or 3 a year typically on a typical year.
Yeah. Just giving her the business everywhere, eh?
Oh, it just chews up equipment and, side-by-sides get eaten up and chewed up and breaking parts and snow bears are dying left and right and getting towed off. So it'll be a little easier now because it's not so brutally cold. The whole winter here Heck, there were so many days when the wind chill was 40, 45, 50 below and whiteout conditions out in the lake. I wasn't on the lake all that much this year, but the guides and guys who were out there every day, it was horrible.
Yeah.
I think Sunday was the first day that we actually had nice weather. I was fighting 35, minus 35 and 50K winds almost every time I went out. So,
yeah, no, it's not. So what happened here, like in Manitoba, a lot of the average guys that can't drive your pickup trucks and stuff out, they didn't go out. And even if you had side-by-sides or sleds and stuff, who the heck wants to go when it's 30 below and blowing hard, So there really wasn't as much fishing pressure as normal on the lake this year. It's just starting to pick up now.
Yeah. Carlo, what advice would you give for someone heading out that way?
My advice would be to always be prepared for what's not gonna or what's gonna happen. Like you never know. So, like I would say, always pack, backups. So like, you never know if you're gonna put your boot in the water. So I would say, always have a backup pair of socks. Backup, a shovel. Always pack a shovel. Never leave the lake without it. A tow rope when you could take trucks out there, or side by sides or whatever, right? But you just prepare for the unexpected because it's going to happen on Lake Winnipeg. Like Lake Winnipeg will chew you and spit you out quicker than you think. So, and like all three of you guys, everybody that's here knows that anything about Lake Winnipeg, it'll turn you into a man quickly, or vice versa, right? So,
Yeah, I know. Like last time we were out with you, that one heave opened up like 6 feet, and we made a run for it. So that's what I'm saying is like always be prepared, because I've seen, like, I'll be honest, you guys, I've seen guys go out there in running shoes and jeans, and they have no idea that they have to get out and push their vehicle because they're stuck. So like, don't come out there like that, always be prepared. You're going ice fishing, on Lake Winnipeg. It's a little different than going fishing, on the Red River, per se, just because it's less snow, less things could happen. Yeah, for sure. Tim, you got some info?
Oh, yeah. My biggest key is always just know where you are on that lake. It's so easy to get turned around. And, if a whiteout comes, you can't see shore, you're lost. So I try to keep my phone charged. I have a GPS unit on my sled. And I just always want to know where I am and what direction I'm facing. And, the other thing I try to do is always try to keep
Rick.
I try to access the shortest route. If I'm launching from Warner, I'm not going to go so far. If I'm going from Prudence, then I'll stay in that area. I don't really want to go to the other side of the lake unless I'm going to launch from there type thing. I'm going to pick an area and just work that area.
Yeah, I know Tim made a good point about knowing where you are. I like the guy called me that was broke down. Well, he told me he thought he was out near the mouth. Well, I found out that he was actually, I believe, over by Stony Point. So that's about 5 miles away.
Oh, yeah.
So it's, and people get screwed up out there all the time. And so even with the GPS, know some of the common things and let people know what's going on. Most of the guys, like I know the American guys that come up, they typically come up with 4 to 6, 8 guys, and they got 3, 4 machines. So they're pretty well covered. But, some of the local guys get in trouble and, we're going to go out fishing. You don't check the weather enough. And then they're sitting in the tent and look out at noon and nobody's there and you can't see 50 feet. It's like, uh-oh.
That's the good thing about all these new electronics. Like, you got the GPS, so as soon as you hit the lake, start that track line, and they'll get you home. I
think Lee said it perfectly too. Like weather is really, really important, man. I'm checking that weather constantly. I got the wind app. I'm going between weather apps, and I definitely don't want to go out when it's 50K winds, right?
Oh, definitely. That's just asking for disaster. You're going to break gear, and it just sucks to fish in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I know. I'm not quite as mad at the fish as I used to be. We used to go out in really snarky weather. Well, okay, we'll just go someplace quick and easy and go for 2 hours on Sunday morning. Now I just go, nah, I'm not quite as mad at them. We'll just let them go today.
for sure. So, I know that area kind of where by the Red River there is pretty flat, so there's not much structure. But what do you guys look for when you're looking for areas to fish on Lake Winnipeg? Lee.
I know a couple of things that I look for, and then now that they've got the depth maps and stuff out, all my old GPS points, a lot of them tend to line up on changes from hard to soft bottom. And then there's a lot of different places, like right up where Carlo lives, there's like little gravel humps out in the lake. So it might only be 6 inches or a foot higher, but it'll be gravel versus mud, and that's where we tend to concentrate the fish. And so those are some of the things you look for. But the key thing, Carlo and I were talking about it before the show, is bait fish.
Yeah.
So you find the bait fish, you're gonna find walleyes. Sometimes you can be ahead of the walleyes. You might find bait, and there's not always there, but they'll come. So the big thing is bait fish. And then one thing that we do up here quite a bit is we fish along ridges, or either big ones or little ones, because as you've got structure on top of the ice, like up like this, that same structure permeates below the ice, down like this. So that's good for all your plankton. It'll attract minnows and the walleyes, and they use it like a highway, right? Any type of structure.
Definitely. Do you think later in the season, as the walleye are trying to spawn, they'll stick to that gravel patch more?
We find them, again, Carlo and I were talking today, some of the gravel beaches at shallow water bite can really, really heat up.
Yeah.
And so everybody thinks that all the fish spawn in the Red River. That's not true. There are some that do, but the great bulk of the fish spawn on gravel and rock points. So, like, typically we're gonna key in on those areas, except like out at the mouth now, because you're gonna get some fresh water flowing in there. So that can be kind of just silty, muddy stuff, but you can have really good action out near the mouth area this time of year as well.
Yeah, as they stage.
I find as soon as you find that break from that dirty water to that clean water, that's where they're going to be hanging out, ambushing
That's
all that bait.
right there.
Yeah.
That's exactly. You
always fish clean
nailed it.
water, and if you're on a break line, so that's it was actually kind of funny because we fish out there in the summer more now than we ever did. We do really well in the summer, but I had a whole string of waypoints just in kind of a straight line. When you go out in the summer, it was right on the edge of the mud line from the Red River where it met the lake. So I thought, I see why this was always good. So what Tim said is really true. And then this time of year too, all of a sudden some of the water will get really muddy, and that'll go straight dead. Don't even fish it. You drill a hole and it's mud, I don't even fish it. And so and then late in the year sometimes there are certain areas that'll get really hot because there's clean water, and there isn't a fish there the rest of the year. Just at that late springtime, like over on the west side, some of those spots, there's not a lot of fish there normally, but it stays cleaner there later, and that's where the fish will go.
Exactly.
Yeah. Carlo?
Yeah, I agree with Lee. Like we said, we talked about it earlier, and if you can find clean water on Lake Winnipeg, you're going to find fish. I'm a firm believer of that, and I'm also a firm believer if you can locate the bait, you're going to locate the walleyes. So, I mean, the shallow bite is exceptional if you can find the right clarity of water, and if you find the bait and the fish aren't coming as frequent, you got to be patient because the big fish will come through. You just like I said, you gotta find that clean water and you gotta find the bait, and those are very big key points on Lake Winnipeg.
The thing with the shallow bite is in the winter that the water was pretty muddy, so like you'll go through blades like crazy. Like I've probably been through 5 sets of blades this year already.
Yeah, no, I agree.
That's the crappy thing about fishing shallow, right?
Yeah, when that shallow water freezes with the wave action, there's a lot of mud in it and stuff. It eats up blades. It's good for my blade sharpening business, but the guys are not so much.
Definitely.
No, definitely.
Well, that's good for you, Lee.
Well, it is, especially the Mora guys. Boy, you touch a hunk of sand and you kill them.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, those mud lines are crazy for any fish, I think. Any predator fish, they'll just sit just inside the mud line, wait for that bait fish to cruise by and just pop out pretty much like camouflage. I've found with lake trout and everything.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So when you guys talk shallow, Alberta shallow to Manitoba shallow is different for walleyes. What are you guys talking about?
4.5 under the ice.
Yeah.
Sometimes shallower. Typically 3 to 8, but typically I know like Carlo and I will fish, 5 to 8 would be fairly shallow. And then deep on Lake Winnipeg in the South Basin is like 15, 16. That's like, oh, you're way out there. So we right on the South Basin where most guys fish is relatively shallow.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, not everybody's okay with fishing shallow. Like, not many people have confidence in the shallow water, but the ones that do know where the big walleyes are, it's going to be relatively pretty shallow. I mean, it's not fun by any means, because when you're looking at your flasher or your Panoptics or whatever you use, in 5 feet of water, let's just say 4 that I've been fishing lots lately, but 4 feet of water, it's, the fish comes in quick, bang, it either hits or it's gone, because they're not coming through their thick. They're coming through they're just roaming the shallows.
Yeah. So you either, when you set the hook, either the fish comes up the hole or you hit him on the ice and he gets off. So
that's right.
I was always a firm believer there's a shallow bite somewhere. It's sometimes hard to find. But if you find the shallow bite, those are always active fish and easy to catch.
Yeah,
I agree.
Good.
The thing with fishing shallow too is you can wait all day for that one bite, right? Like it's not always the hottest bite, but usually there's the bigger fish, or you're going to find bigger fish there. For the most part, I found.
It always seems like it's harder to land them as well, just because of that. You only have so much water to play them and so much angle to run. So you can snap them on the edge of your hole, and like Lee said, you can bump them as they're coming up.
Oh yeah.
Like here, we'll go, like when we fish shallow, it's like 6 feet to like 10 feet. That's our shallow. Then we'll go out to like 26 during the day. It's just, you guys have such a different bait system out there. Like you have clouds coming through when we don't have those clouds. It's just totally different. Yeah. Like it's an experience everyone should go visit. Like the fishing's crazy when you get that bait cloud come in. It's almost like lake trout fishing. That bait cloud comes in and you just move your hook through there till you see that mark and you just put it right on their face. Then whammy.
Yeah, I've seen guys when bait comes through and they're going, hey, my flasher's on the fritz, and they're beating the side of it. Hey, what's wrong with this? Nobody. That's actually bait fish. So, and then one thing too that we should talk about is people are spreading out Lake Winnipeg now. So I just mentioned like 15, 16 feet is shallow. Guys are fishing a lot of different areas now, and you can go out and fish 20, 30 feet in Lake Winnipeg now, but they're moving further north and spreading out, and we're and so it's changing the fishery quite a bit.
Yeah. Do you
You know,
think
so-
earlier ice it'd be better out deeper? I know you guys run and gun and shallower than move out in the afternoon, but do you think it's kind of evolving to being a little deeper, or do you think that's a whole different group of fish out deeper?
Different
I
group.
think it's
Yeah,
some of
it's-
the areas we're fishing quite far away from the south end. Like I fish a lot 80 miles north of
Yeah.
typically South Basin. I fish up there lots. And we fish a lot of 20, 25, 30-foot water sometimes. So
Yeah.
those are totally different fish. But I think with the zebra mussels now and the water clarity is getting better. So I think our walleyes, we use big gaudy crankbaits, that guys can't believe that you're using that to catch walleyes through the ice with. We're ripping those. And some of the big spoons and stuff that we use. And I think sometimes now we're getting more subtle presentation. Carlo and I were talking about small flutter spoons and buckshot spoons. Stuff like that is working. Although still 3-4 inch spoons are catching big fish. Today I know they caught a bunch.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. When you're fishing deeper, are you fishing suspended fish, or are you still just staying lower down than just going to the mark?
Personally, I like to fish about a foot and a half off the bottom that way. But you always, if you see a fish come through, you always fish it. You crank up quick.
Yeah.
I know Carlo and the guys will agree with me. On the Red River, there's a deep water bite early in the year, like in 30, 35 feet. But those fish always come through at like 10 to 15, 18 feet. So you can fish and target those. So some of the guys will have one rod set up higher and then one near the bottom. So that's one way to do it.
For sure. Like when I first came out there, I noticed dead sticking wasn't a big thing.
No.
Do you guys do a lot of dead sticking, or are you still just active ripping?
Depending on the bite. Depending how the
sometimes
fish
a dead
react.
stick and a livey has been better this year now. And guys are refining it. Up in Manitoba, a dead stick meant a 3-ounce jig with the minnow on it, right?
Yeah.
And up until recently, maybe not even a livey. But now some of the guys are going with slip bobbers, or they're going with a real soft tipped rod, a plain hook, split shot above, so it's a much more lively presentation. But typically, I don't ever fish a dead stick, because if the fish are going, I don't have time for it, and if they aren't going, it don't matter.
Yeah,
That's right.
So that's kind of my thoughts, and then I'm kind of lazy, so I only want to drill one hole.
For me, I'll fish a dead stick if I'm going to set up, but I usually don't set up unless I'm bringing the kids, or I got a buddy that's not a big fisherman and just wants to pop up the tent. Then I'll do us each a dead hole, but otherwise I'm running and gunning, and I'm already drilling 2 holes because I got the live scope, so drilling 3 is a pain, especially through that 4 feet of ice right now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you guys get way more ice than we do. But, yeah. What's your favorite time of day? Do you prefer morning, afternoon, or the last bite?
Morning.
First bite, always the best. Always.
The morning bite.
Still dark.
Yep.
Still dark.
Still dark when it's morning time.
The light, and a lot of times I've got my, most of my fish on the ice by the time the big herd comes out at sunrise.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, Brendan was saying drop shot with the minnow hooked. The drop
3 to 5
shot
feet
works
up,
for him.
Drop shot's a real effective way to fish at. Yeah. So
Very
that's a very effective way to do that.
For sure.
Not many guys in Manitoba use that level of sophistication to go with the drop shot.
Not for walleye, right?
Yeah, it's just a walleye, and they're easy.
Well,
we
not
catch
in the
a
winter
lot of
time
them,
anyway.
so it's not. A lot of guys won't do that, but that's the correct way, and that'll put more fish on top of the ice for you. That drop shot.
Yeah, I know a lot of guys out west will run a drop shot in tournaments all the time, just because they're so much more finicky and it's such a subtle approach.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But yeah, because your fish are so much more aggressive. Like they literally
Yeah.
just come in and smash. They won't just sit there and look at it.
No, and then
When they're
we've got something in Manitoba called a pickerel rig, which is actually
we got those too.
yeah, so really, but that I know everybody laughs because I won't use one, but really that's a drop shot rig. That's all it is, and it's made. I know guys on the river use that quite a bit, and it's actually quite effective for them.
Yeah,
I've caught a lot of good fish on it.
Presentation.
For
I
sure.
know everybody's laughing. I'm just telling you, for the average guy though, to put fish on top.
Oh,
Hey man, I caught a brown
definitely.
trout on one last spring, so
Yeah.
No, they catch fish hands down.
Yeah, no,
Like-
so that I mean, we sell more and more of them every winter, the pickerel rigs. But
Right.
so that's really all it is. And then the nice thing, like we've got 2 hooks in our pickerel rig, so some guys will rig a livey on one or 2 liveys, and then either fresh frozen shiner or a mud minnow on them. You know, we're starting to use more mud minnows here.
Yeah.
So, which are real lively on the live bait scene, and they tend to be a little bigger.
Yeah.
they last longer too.
Yeah.
Way more hardy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well-
those are tough little buggers.
Are those mud minnows like a chub or?
No, it's kind of like
They're
a
thicker.
funky. It's like a baby burbot almost, or a mariah.
Yeah.
It's I don't know what the species is, but yeah, they're kind of funky.
Oh yeah.
Walleyes love them.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
do. And then a lot of guys, we keep them separate, and either guys go, "You got mud minnows? That's what I want," or they go, "Ooh, ick. Don't even put one in my bag. I don't want to touch any other minnows." So
Oh,
When I come to your shop, I'll always grab half and half, 12 and 12.
yeah, no, that's what guys do.
It's like
Yeah,
a coffee
like-
shop.
Pickerel rigs like this, smoking fish, we sell about 15,000 of those a year.
Oh,
wow.
wow.
That's a couple bucks.
Yeah, when I was in northern Saskatchewan in the summer, I was throwing a big black spinner for pike, just going into shore lunch. I hooked into a nice pike, 40-some inch, but it had a burbot's tail like sticking out of its mouth, and he felt that belly of that pike. It was just full of burbots. You could feel them in there, and he was
Oh,
still
they love
hungry.
They love burbot, big pike too.
Oh yeah, burbot's a good feed, I think.
Yeah, well, I think it's an oily fish and gives them a lot of protein.
Oh
Yeah.
I love them. They're delicious. You fry up that backstrap or make a fish chowder out of that?
Lobster.
Yeah, poor man's
Oh
lobster.
man, it's ridiculous. But what are you guys running for sonars? Like, I know there's lots of people still on the flashers, and everyone's moving to the live scopes or the 360s or the live targets. Lee, what are you running?
I'm running Hummingbird. I'm running the Helix 5.
Yeah.
For me, it's got everything I need. It's got my built-in GPS. I got a lake map built into that, and I like the sonar view or the
graph.
I like the graph view versus the
Yeah.
round sonar.
I like
For
it.
me, once you get used to that, that's the only way to go. Because I'm normally chatting and talking half the time, and if I look away, I can see that there was a fish there a second or two ago, and I can also see how that fish is reacting. Is he coming up real fast? Is he slow? Is he, what kind is he doing? I'll probably end up next year going with the 360, I think, just to save time scouting. But I still see a place for my Helix 5. Like if you put the 360 down, I determine there's fish in the area, I'm going to fish it. I think you put that away, and then I fish with my Helix. That's kind of how I see that thing going.
Carlo?
Yeah, I agree with Lee. I run a Helix 7 and I run that big screen too. Just to see where the fish are coming, like to see if they're coming up fast, coming down slow, if they're sluggish. That's the exact same thing I look for. I mean, Lee taught me how to do it. So, I mean, Lee taught me a lot on this lake. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, I would do the exact same thing. I'm going to be doing the Mega Live for next year as well. That's going to be my locating, and then I'll be fishing it with a Helix 7. I mean, after using a Garmin Panoptics and live scope like Tim has, I mean, oh boy, I mean, it's going to be tough not to go that route, but I mean, yeah, I'm going to run Humminbird Mega Live next year, and then just do my Helix 7. I mean, I've been okay with that. I mean, it does the trick, and it works for me, and
Yeah.
Well, I have a huge family. I got 6 kids, so I have a abundance of flashers from Markham to Vexlar. But right now, I'm running the live scope. It's hands down the best. Like, you drill one hole, pan around, fish are there, you stay. They're not, you're moving. It's better than drilling a bunch of holes and finding out they're not there.
Yeah.
But
Tim, I got a question for you. So I fish with guys with Panoptics and the live scope. Do you think that it's possible for the transducer, like the signal that it's putting out when you're going around, to spook fish? Because I've been sitting there with guys, and you watch that fish, and he gets about 10 feet away, and then he just kind of cruises and turns away, and off he goes.
This is hilarious, because I was actually going to...
If that could be an issue.
I was actually going to bring that up, but, we're 50-50 on it, man. There's days where we bring our flasher, and it's like, okay, let's try it. And the fish seem to be doing the same thing. I had to talk with Mike Olson about it, and what he said to me was, we don't know how these fish act in the past, so we don't really know if that's what they always do.
Yeah, so, it could be. Yeah, it could be you got 6 fish coming up and only 2 come in and whack it. But I did notice that there are some days when, like, you point the Garmin at him, the transducer, and he gets so close, and it's like, I don't think so. And you would think he'd come in and at least have a closer look.
I know exactly what you're talking about, because
I don't know.
If you're in forward view and you're panning to 20 feet and you see that walleye steaming in, and then all of a sudden it makes a curve around you, you're like, what happened? That should have been a guarantee on the ice, right?
Yeah.
But man, I don't know.
What about the down?
I just noticed that over the last couple of years, and I started thinking, I go, I wonder if that thing don't screw us up sometimes. So
there is big talk about it, because I think there's 3 transducers built into one, or 4 built into one. It's just much sonar pinging off the bottom and the top at the same time. It potentially is messing those fish up.
And I'm not an expert on that stuff, but I know I do know that me and the Helix, if it comes in, I can seal the deal. But then again, I don't know, because of the depth we're fishing, that I might have 100 fish a day come in at 10, 12 feet away, 20 feet away, and go, I don't think so. And then I'll never mark those. I'll never mark those fish.
The thing with this, oh, sorry, go ahead, Mitch.
That's a mystery of technology, I think. Like, if you're doing a forward view instead of just a down view, do you find more on the down? Like, when they come in? I guess it's the exact same question that we're trying to solve.
What I was going to say is like, the way I fish walleye, I'm pretty sure we all fish them the same. When it comes in, and if there is sort of a pause, it's more of an up, right? And I just find that they're stopping halfway, and it's like, in the early hard water here, man, we had a hard time getting them, and if they did bite, it would be like right underneath the ice. So, like, it's just hard to say. Like, who knows if these fish are always like that? Because now we can actually see the fish move. We see them coming in far. Man, I don't know. I guess I'm just gonna have to take some time with it.
I think it's just opening us up to so much more range, and you're seeing those fish you never see, maybe? Or is that sonar just getting to them? But I think there's a lot of fish that are coming in that just never come in.
Yeah, that's and then with the lateral line too, it's hard to say what, if that affects them or whatever. But no, I think Tim's right. I think, there was a lot of fish that just you never saw. I know when we're fishing now, because I was like a hardcore run and gun guy. I mean, if you were slow getting out of a truck, you might miss a spot with me. But now when you put the $360 Panoptics, whatever you're using, and you spin it around, and you go, ooh, there's fish here, even though I haven't caught one for 10 minutes, but you look and they go, well, I can see 20, 30 fish, whatever. It's just not right directly beneath the, where I'm fishing. So either I got to adjust to move 20 feet, 10 feet, whatever, or you just wait till they start coming through. So that's one thing we've noticed with that. You don't have to move near as much. Once you find fish, I don't like to leave fish to find them.
Yeah, that's definitely true. It's hard, like even perch fishing or something, once you're on some, you should move if they're not the class you want. But since they're fish there, you kind of sit on them.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to do that. And, we do that walleye fishing too, which I think I was making a big mistake. But I would leave eater fish to go look for bigger fish. Like, okay, we did this. I need a big fish for my guest or whatever I'm doing. But, I know over the years we've learned that if you wait that out, if you're in like a fish highway or a depth or something where fish want to come through, you just got to wait for that one pot of fish, right? That's got bigger fish in it.
Yeah, for sure.
This is the other thing too. Oh, sorry. But this is the other thing too. Okay, so like I'm not sure if it has anything to do with the ice, but in the fall time when those walleye were running, we ran 4 live scopes in a boat, and we caught multiple trophies those days. So it's like it's hard to say, is it that ping that's doing it, or is it these fish just so finicky or even smart? They just feel the vibration from the line, or you never know.
Or maybe that fish was caught before and has some memory, or something don't look right, or it's not what he wants. Yeah, so it's really hard to say, but it's very interesting to watch that.
Yeah,
very frustrating too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but I was even thinking like it could potentially be like the line, on the gauge of braid people are using. If people are using mono or fluoro, or like I run braid to fluoro, and sometimes those fish will come right in and smash, and other times, like if I have a different rod that has like a thicker braid, is it that? Because I know the fish are coming off vibrations as well, right?
Yeah, and I run braid to fluoro on most of my stuff. Sometimes I'll go right straight mono, like I'll run just 8-pound mono on some of my, like a buckshot or some of my smaller stuff. I just run straight mono, 8-pound or whatever, and go from there. One tip I'd like to give everybody too is that I like to put either like a bobber stop or a snap swivel about 4 feet above the ice, or, above your lure. That way, when you're cranking on a big fish, when you see that swivel or the bobber stop hit the ice, you're getting close, and that's when you got to be careful. So that'd be a big tip.
Stop reeling,
people, because that's where you're going to
stop reeling. Yeah.
Yeah, stop reeling and just lift.
Lift.
Yep, you want to always lift on an up thump. When the fish is thumping down like this, as it starts coming up, you just lift and watch the water come up the hole.
Yeah.
No, that's amazing tip. Lots of people probably don't know that. Actually, I never thought of that, and that's a great idea.
Yeah, but just a bobber stop. I use a swivel just so, depending on spoons and stuff, it doesn't mess up your line. But even just a bobber stop works, and you can adjust it as you want. But you keep that about 4 feet above your lure, like that's our ice thickness now. So when you see that, you go, okay, he's getting close, because that's when I'm going to lose a big fish.
Yeah.
I usually run about 6 feet of fluoro. So my FG knot is pretty much that. When I see my knot, that's when I know I should stop reeling and lift.
That's the same principle that you're running, right?
Yeah.
So then you're getting close, because you'd think, well, you're only fishing 10, 12 feet maybe, but you got to know where the fish is. Well, not really, because you don't know he took some drag or he comes up. And then typically you hook a big fish and it's real heavy, but he comes up real easy for about halfway. And then they start getting a little more excited, I think, as they see the ice or they figure out what's happening.
For sure. Yeah, I'm the same way. I'll run braid, then fluoro for at least 3 feet. So I guess that's my marker, but. Yeah,
so if, at least you got a marker, but, a lot of guys running straight line, and then, has been the other thing. As long as we're on that subject, would be maybe what types of rods to use.
Yeah.
And then I'm famous for using real heavy sticks, 40, 45-inch rods. Like if the truck gets stuck, I can winch you out with this thing.
That's the big windy, eh?
Yeah, well, you want something that you can get a hook set into them. I see so many guys using, medium light, medium type stuff. Might be fine for your walleyes, your 16, 18 inches when you're fishing somewhere, but not up here.
You need that backbone.
You
don't got a backbone on any fish.
To set the hook on them, yeah.
Yeah.
I think all three of us are running big windies.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
This is a big windy stick. It's a custom guy. A buddy of ours makes them in Manitoba, and it's you might call it, for most people it'd be even a heavy lake trout stick.
Yeah, mine's a medium fast 40-inch, I think.
Mine's a medium fast 44 and 46.
I've got I just got another one I'm going to that's a bait caster. It's going to be I'm going to build 50-inch, a bait caster with spiral guides on it.
I have one.
Yeah, I've got
that's
a
your
couple
lake
of
trout.
bait casters which I like, but they're only 42, 44. So I'm going to go bigger because, well, as Carlo knows, I never get out of the truck.
Yeah.
So if it's a 2 or 3 pound fish, I just lift it out of the rod, unhook it, down the hole it goes, and I'm back fishing again. If you see my fat rear end slide out of the truck, I got a good one.
Yeah.
It's almost like Alex Kessler fishing a 6-7 inch or 6-7 foot rod.
Oh yeah, Kessler fishes summer rods. He'll fish a 6-foot rod.
Yeah,
He's been doing that forever.
Do you guys? So you're running medium heavies or heavies?
Medium heavies.
They're classified medium heavy, but they got their length and backbone, I think. I would classify more as a heavy rod. And there are different variations. I maybe don't go quite as heavy if I'm using a smaller spoon. Again, like the buckshot type spoon or something like that.
How's your tip on those? Is it super so you can just feel if it's? But
you'll feel it. You'll see it too.
Oh
yeah, I know.
Everything is by feel. I could use a broomstick out there. You could use the old broomstick to the Adam's apple trick. You can feel the vibration there. So for me, it's all feel. I know a lot of the guys that come in the shop, they want to watch. They're going to get a bite. And they want to watch the rod bend like this, right? That's not what I like to do. On a dead stick, you can get away with that with the real light tips. They've got so many nice rods now, but I'm just using big, heavy ones. I've got some that are thicker than this one here.
Yeah, I feel out there those fish that want to eat, they eat, and they just come through in Roadhouse, kind of they're there.
Yeah, you always feel a tap.
Big cloud.
And I always tell guys, hook sets are free, but if you feel something, swing.
Yeah.
We don't charge extra for those.
Right.
Yeah. No,
I agree.
Those fish seem so much more aggressive out there. As of here, our pressure is so crazy because we have such a huge population. The fish have learned to take stuff off the bottom. And if they do go onto something, they just latch onto it. Then you just slowly feel for the weight and just watch your tip slowly go down. Then you set the hook.
Yeah, our fish will eat off the bottom. Some days that's the only way they'll eat it. Even using a crankbait, you can rip it, let it lay off the bottom, and you'll pick it up, and that fish will be on. You actually watch it and pick it up off the bottom.
With the crankbait.
With the crankbait even. And spoons, we're always pounding bottom too and leaving it lay there. And there are some days that's the only way they'll eat it is on the bottom.
What are you guys running for line?
I'm running.
I run Power Pro and maybe Berkeley Fluoro, kind of whatever I got in the store. I'm not overly fussy on that. Most of what I find is pretty good.
Carlo?
I run 8-pound Power Pro and Seagar Cigar, like fluoro every so often, but I'm not like Tim got me on fluorocarbon.
A couple of years back.
Yeah, a
It's
couple of
the
years
snap.
back. So I mean, that really changed the game for me a bit. I really like to just tie direct. I've been a firm believer on and not losing big fish when I tie direct. But I mean, everybody has their way. I mean, but yeah, if I was gonna run fluoro with as my leader, then yeah. But I mean, on Lake Winnipeg, I don't very commonly put fluoro on there. I mean, I normally just tie straight direct 8-pound Power Pro.
Yeah, you guys don't have the depth, so you're not getting that much stretch out of it anyway. So out
Yeah.
of a mono. So
No, that's you could yeah, without the depth you can run regular Trilene XL if you want.
Yeah,
all day.
yeah.
So and then
What about-
Carlo, you were talking, do you use a snap swivel or anything?
No, I tie direct right to my lure.
Yeah,
I normally
that's what you were saying.
I like
I
to do.
like to use a little snap swivel because what I've seen is I'm going to see if I can show you here. But what I've seen is sometimes the lure gets a funny angle on it. You know, like the knot will slide or won't be exactly where you
Yeah.
want to be. I want that lure to hang either horizontal or vertical and not funky. That might be just me. And then if I got to change, my fingers aren't quite as nimble as they used to be. It's easier to change with a snap swivel and tying a knot at -30.
What about you, Tim? How do you like to set your presentation? Do you like to go straight to the lure, or do you like to go fluoro?
No, I run 15-pound Power Pro to 12-pound either Cigar or P line with an FG knot. But I use like arm's length and then some, so I get like at least 6 feet of fluoro. And then like it depends what rod I'm using. On that big windy, I have one Jackal that I pretty much always run. But this year I've been running Element custom baits. Like, so I know which one you're talking about, Carlo. I think I might have gave it to you, but
Yeah, you did give it to me.
It's this one, right?
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh yeah, money.
Man,
It's the white and
Money in
pink.
the
But
bank.
this year, honestly, man, Element custom baits have been just putting the work in, and like there's
Wow.
teeth marks all over this thing. So it's been put to work for sure.
Yeah,
they're the amazing company, and just the product they put out is just phenomenal.
Mike Harris is a
puts out
solid guy.
phenomenal product. Phenomenal.
It's crazy. Like
Yeah.
you look at it, it's just like, dang, I'd eat
No,
that.
You know, he puts a lot of time into his lures. So I mean, yeah, like those that don't know, you know, Element baits, you know, he puts a lot of work into his crankbaits, and it shows. And I mean,
Oh,
he does different drops on Mondays, right, Tim? Different drops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
6 o'clock usually.
Yeah, 6
yes,
o'clock. You
yesterday.
guys. Yeah, so I mean, those that don't know about Element baits, yeah, he does drops at 6 o'clock on Mondays. They're very, very limited, and he does incredible designs. So you definitely want to get your hands on them if you can.
Yeah, the ones the Monday yesterday, I guess. What were those? The chums or something, or chubs?
I have one right here if I
Man,
can open it.
those were insane. Like, you know, things are just gonna eat them.
Oh
They're
yeah,
so realistic. The paint job's amazing. They
and
take
the
a
actual
beating.
feel of those Element baits, they don't ever hook the tail, ever. They don't
yeah?
ever hang up because they're nose heavy. So.
Nice.
Yeah, no, those are incredible baits. I mean, hats off to Mike Harris for his baits, because those are some of the best baits in the country. I'd almost say. Oh,
for
look
sure.
at that.
The coolest thing about this is it's a
That's
Jackal.
the one right there.
This is the one. This is
Oh.
a Jackal as well. And I told him I am gonna tie this onto my big windy, and it's not coming off. This is the one for
that
sure.
was the
Yeah.
one
That's
on
the
last
Emerald
night,
Shiner.
wasn't it?
Yeah, I dropped 6 o'clock last night. I bought 2 of them,
Yeah, man.
and then he had like a real cool pink one too. So I grabbed that at the same time. If you guys seen it,
That one's phenomenal.
those. You know, I saw those. I was like, oh man, those are killers on anything.
Yeah.
Like you can go a largemouth or whatever. Those things are gonna smash.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does really cool designs with those eyes and stuff. I noticed a couple of you guys talking about it, but yeah, he puts out phenomenal baits. I mean, there's
So-
not too many companies that really take their time with, putting out perfection. He's a perfectionist. So,
Oh,
it
yeah.
shows.
You know what I love about it is they're really actually custom because he doesn't make 5,000 of them. He only makes like that 200-300, and if you got one, you got money, man.
Yeah. They are deadly, like hands down.
Yeah, outstanding.
If you hit the lake, what's your go-to hook? Like, what's the one you're gonna put on first? Since we kind of touched on Tim's, but
Crankbait.
I'm putting
Right
that
now,
on.
yeah, I know Carlos doing good on that bait right now, but if
That's a
I'm
RJ,
on
eh?
the drop of the day, I'm going to go with the crankbait.
yeah,
That's the RJ, right, Carlo?
Yeah, that's the
See-
Willow RJ spoon.
If I'm going RJ, it's going to be something like this
oh,
with
yeah.
this really shiny back, right?
Yeah,
With a huge flutter as well.
It's a
Yeah,
flutter. That's exactly
Both
what
of
it
those
is.
flutter like crazy.
Yeah.
I like
But good-
smacking this right off the bottom so that when it gets on the bottom and it allows the walleye to pin it. So as soon as you come up, there's weight. That's why I use this spoon a lot.
And Lee's on the crankbaits. What's your color, Lee, on cranks?
blue and silver. So
Money.
Money.
this is kind of what I'm running here.
Yeah.
And then one thing, that I'm sure the guys do as well is, when you're talking to guys, I saw one of the comments was they look kind of pricey, like some of the lures that we're showing, and some of them kind of are, but you'd lose very, very few ice fishing. I mean, I might lose one a year, and that's because I got lazy and didn't retie, and my line got a little frayed. That's typically, otherwise you aren't going to lose one. But I know one thing that I do, and I'm sure the other guys do as well too, is there are some lures I switch out hooks on. Like some lures
yeah. Me
come
too.
with just crappy hooks. So, you're sitting there watching a hockey game or doing something. I'm switching out split rings. I'm switching out treble hooks. Then in Manitoba, of course, we're barbless, so we make sure everything's debarbed as you put it on. So, I mean, it's but little nuances like that, and just making sure your hooks are sharp, is actually a big thing. And then with the crankbaits, some of them, they get just the way that they're weighted and everything, the tail will flip up and hook on your line. I mean, everybody's had that problem where you're kind of screwed up. So this, I don't know who came up with this first, but
Aaron
I
Weeb.
think
Can't hear you guys.
is the first one that I saw. So we put like a little piece of plastic on, shrink wrap, and it keeps it out that way. Okay, so that virtually assures that your line's not going to flip up and hook up here like this. Okay, so that's a big thing. One thing I see guys do too, if you're going to tip a crankbait, like what I like to do is always tip the front hook, and I'll use
Can you guys hear me?
and I wrap it around all three trebles. I know in the States they use a lot of minnow heads on
I
one
can't
hook,
hear you guys.
but we
Just
wrap
join
around.
back in, Carlo. We had to kick Carlo out because his hearing's going. He's getting old. Maybe Carlo will come back. Maybe Lee's gone too.
No, he's there.
Oh, Lee's still
Oh,
there.
To touch on what
Yeah.
Lee was saying there, like I don't use a full minnow. I just use the head, but I use the bait button to secure it on as well. Like
Yes.
on most of these, like you'll see, I'm
Sorry,
on the
guys.
bottom hook, and I always have bait buttons on there.
Yeah.
So bait buttons are a real important thing, especially when you're barbless fishing. And the guys, if you using a dead stick with a libby, that's mandatory almost to use a bait button on it.
For sure. Here's my Lake Winnipeg killer.
Oh,
Right there.
That's a good one.
That the coffin?
I gave Carlo one of those last time I was there when I left. You can tell the rattle's been smashed off this one, and
Is that the coffin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
that thing was a machine.
Oh yeah.
Brendan asked the question there was how often are you smashing bottom? And when I'm using a flutter spoon, I'm hitting the bottom every time to mimic a wounded fish. Every time I flutter, I come up, I let it flutter all the way down to the bottom, leave it, sort of give it a couple, and then back all the way up and just let it come down by itself.
Yeah.
And one thing too, when you're doing that, I notice a lot of guys is they drop their rod tip too fast. So when you give it a smack to flutter, you have to get a cadence so that you can drop, that your rod is dropping slower. Because what will happen, they'll hit you on the drop sometimes, or they'll pick it up off bottom. As you pick up again, you got to be ready because there could be a fish on there, right? So you don't want slack in your line. So it's a little. It takes a while to get used to drop your rod slow enough at the cadence that the lure is falling.
Watch your line as well, because that's how I got my biggest one. As soon as I dropped, I noticed it just went slack.
Yep.
Yeah.
My biggest Winnipeg walleye was on the drop and the line just went slack. Then I just got on it and.
Yeah, and that's right, because I know in my brain I'll go, what the hell? I shouldn't be at bottom yet. Oh yeah, remember that's a fish. But that happens quite a bit.
Yeah.
All right. It's 8:00, so we better do entry for the giveaway from our friends at Backwood Lithium Batteries. We got Dakota Lithium Battery to give away, and our friends at Lexi Lures has a Lex hook package to give away. So Carlo, Tim, pick each of you pick an emoji, and we'll see who comes up with the two emojis first, and they will be entered.
Okay, I got one in my head.
Is it a good one?
Yeah, it's a good one.
Did you guys pick the same one?
Hopefully not.
Okay. Carlo?
You want to know which one?
Yeah, you gotta say it.
It's the one with your hand like this.
Okay, Tim, go.
It's the fishing rod with the fish emoji.
Oh man, that wasn't a good one.
You want me to pick another one?
No. It's been said now. You can't take it back.
Edit.
Well, that's just one. You need both. Is it just the fist, Carlo?
Yeah, the one with the inside fist like this.
Just the fist, not a person with a fist.
No, just the inside of the fist.
Okay, we got a bunch of people going here. We'll see who gets it. Oh, Mike Hillhurst has got it for this week.
Nice.
He'll be entered to the end of the month draw. Are you guys heading to the lake this weekend?
Yeah, all week. I'm pretty much out there all week.
Do you guys close at the end of the month?
April 4th.
The 4th, yeah.
April 4th. Nice.
I'll be out there tomorrow.
So the bite's just gonna get better and better.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully with all this water and a little bit of movement of that ridge, getting a little bit of oxygen in the water there, it really helps these fish out to start snapping, man.
Yeah.
Well, they should be moving in there with all the gravel and heading to the river. They're just a little late staging, it sounds like.
It's been freezing up here, man.
Yeah. No, same as here. Our good walleye lakes have been sluggish, and it's just been bad. I find you have to go deep when those pressure systems hit around here, just because the deeper you get, the pressure is less for them.
Yeah.
In that shallower water, you're going to have a lot more pressure on those fish. And if you move deeper, that pressure is not going to hit them as bad. So we've been fishing deeper this year, but it's still been a slow slug just with the weather. Up and down, same as you guys. It was a crazy year.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's been a tough one.
I guess if I could touch on one thing, like about the cold weather, is Carlo knows it with me, like the most important thing when you come fishing with me is protecting that fish, man. I will like freeze my hands. I'll do everything to make sure that fish is healthy. I like 30, like not even 30 seconds. I want that fish out and back in that hole, or, you know, have your lip grips and just make sure that fish is almost always in the water. Don't let those eyes freeze over. If you're like me, you know, you're putting your thumbs on those eyes gently, just really trying to take as best care as you can of these walleye, because, you know, the big ones are what is making all the smaller ones, obviously, right?
Yeah, keep them in. Pull them out for a quick picture, get them back in. If you have a shack set up, run them to a shack if you're outside your shack. Because if you have a heated shack, you can get a couple pictures and get it back in as well.
Yeah, even for me, it's like if you are in a shack and you catch a big one, like you don't got to go outside, right?
No.
You could, but
Shack
there's guys
shot.
when we take shots in the shack, actually, I feel as if the fish looks bigger as well, because you got such a small background and you got a big fish. But all those guys want to have that outside shot all the time, right?
Take it where you get them.
Yeah, like
But-
Tim said, you know, like you always want to make sure that that fish is taken care of 150%, right? You always want somebody else to go out there and have the thrill of catching that fish, right? So the more proper handling that you give those fish, the better it is for the next person that gets to catch it and have the thrill, you know what I mean? So, I mean, that's a great that's good idea that you said that, Tim, because that's number one on Lake Winnipeg, especially on those cold days. It's not worth it to go outside and take that fish picture, you know, like he said, you know, take it inside, take care of that fish just as well as you want, you know, somebody else to catch it. So, no, that's a great idea.
I know from my perspective, I'm kind of at the point in life when if I take a big fish picture, the only thing that changes is me. I look older and fatter, right? My wife goes, well, you know, all the big fish look the same. A 30-incher is the same now as 10 years ago. So what I find, you know, what I do now is, unless it's a truly massive fish, I don't even need a picture. You know,
Definitely.
that fish might be, you know, Carlo knows that. I go, yep, I got a big one. Here it is. 5 seconds back down the hole. It's like, bye. I mean,
It has to have been over 150, 200 times that I was like, hey, really, I'll get the camera. And he's like, don't worry about it. It's already down the hole. It's like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's I don't get all hung up on some of the social media stuff. I mean, it's for me, it's not as relevant. I mean, I am what I am and do what I do, and that's the way it is, you know. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. I still take a big fish picture once in a while. Like coming up now, we got nice weather. If I'm with some guys, I get a big fish. I'll take, you know, then we'll take a few pics. But a lot of the times now, it's like, you know, the fish is important to me. Nobody else really cares if I catch a 29 or 30-inch fish. You know, I mean, literally, they're so common up here. It's not a big deal. If that fish isn't, you know, 32, 33 inches, 34 inches, it's just another fish for me.
I need a 34-incher.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
You know, all the years I've been
some
fishing,
this way, Lee.
yeah, you know, all the years I fished, I caught 134, and that was like 10 years ago. You know, it might have been even longer than that. And actually, this year I know of at least 2 legit fish over 32 and a half. And a guy came in the shop today, caught a 32 3/4. But really, that's about as big as they get. You know, we kept waiting for those 35s and stuff. The Manitoba record's 38 inches, but very, very rare and very hard to, you know, anything over 30 inches is a true giant.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's
Mitch.
crazy.
Hey,
Like
Mitch,
we're on Pike 2 weeks ago, and we're catching like 38s, and it's like, no, don't take a picture. We were catching 41s to 45s, and it's like you catch a 40, it's like, Don't take a picture. We'll just get like the bigger ones. Even last weekend, I was with Kevin Wilson, and I caught one good perch, and it's like, okay, just take a picture of that perch. Every other perch, just get them back. They're just perch, but it's still a
They're
fish.
all the same. That's right.
It doesn't matter. If you're not going to eat them, put them back as fast as you can.
What's your biggest walleye, Mitch?
Mine?
Yeah.
I don't have a clue because I don't measure fish that often. I just get a picture and put them in.
Carlo?
I know I did some competition here in Alberta, and there's a 29.5 here. And then everything else I never measure anything.
Yeah, I seldom measure a fish anymore either. Very seldom.
I kind of just look, and it's like, oh, that's a nice looking fish. That one's plump and long. Might as well take a picture.
Right, yeah. It's like they're all nice. Oh, it's either they're all nice fish. Some are just a little bit nicer, but I don't get too hung up if that fish is 27.5 inches or 28.5. We got a master angler program, but to me, they're all nice fish. And hey, if I show you a picture, get a picture one, here's a nice fish. I'm not gonna say it's 28.25 or something. No, I don't really care. It's not relevant to me anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I got a sweet picture with a nice looking fish. Put it back. That's all I need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. Thanks for everyone being on.
My biggest on Lake Winnipeg is 31.75. I got 3 of them. I can't break that for some reason.
No. Soon, Carlo. Soon.
Tim, what's your biggest?
31 on the nose. Caught it last year with Chris Gahn.
That guy's a hell of an angler too.
Oh yeah,
outstanding.
Good buddy. Very good friend.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll kind of wrap her up. Lee, where can everybody find you? What's your shop name so everyone can stop by?
The shop name is Smokin' Fish in Selkirk. We're kind of the gateway for the Red River and Lake Winnipeg. We're the go-to shop in the area. So right now you can see behind me, I'm at the near famous world headquarters of Smokin' Fish all around here. So that's where I'll be either hanging out here or out in the lake if I can drive and get out there. So otherwise it's and if it's not quite so brutal, but I'm at the store just about every day, all day. So if I'm not here, I'm fishing.
Yeah. Okay. We got one last question. Matt Young's asking if he might be able to get on with a truck here soon.
No, I don't think so.
No,
too much.
Doesn't look that way.
No way.
If you want a new front end, go try it, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's just too much snow. There's a possibility if it rains and it warms up enough, that snowpack goes down enough. I've seen that happen before, but it don't look like it's going to happen this year. Might be at the end at the best, and even then, it's going to be iffy.
Yeah.
I don't think it's happening this season.
No.
Tim, where can everybody find you?
Tim Butler on Facebook, and I'm running the Fishing Fanatics page on Instagram and Facebook. You can find me there.
Sweet. Carlo, where can everybody go get some good eats, and where can they find you?
I own a restaurant in Winnipeg Beach and Sandy Hook called Carlo's Cucina. We're on Facebook and Instagram, and you can find me also on Facebook under Carlo Guzzi and also on Instagram under Goozer. I'm pretty stationed in a couple different areas there.
Yeah, so go get your fishing hooks at Smokin' Fish. Go get your grub at Carlo's. 2 of the best shops around in the area, hands down. I've been to both. The food's amazing. And Smokin' Fish, the selection's crazy. So make sure you make the stop before you head out on the lake or after the lake. But
I appreciate that, guys. Thank you for having us on the show as well. We appreciate it.
Yeah, if you want to stay on after, we can have a quick chat. And tune in next week. We got the the ladies of angling, we got Lisa Roper, Amber, Tasha Eagle. Oh, I can't remember. That's bad. But these 3 phenomenal fishing women from Alberta here, so they're going to have lots of tips for everybody. So we'll see you next week. Stay tuned.
See you guys.
See you guys.